Okay. Aaron, maybe you want to just read the Gemara in Bava Metzia from HaHoraya, like we did last week, but we'll just review it. On page Hey, Amud Aleph.
Yeah, I have it. HaHoraya the have a master like kol yom chayuta besade. Yom echad master like belasade. So there's a shepherd, and they would give him every day. People from the wherever he was would give him animals in the presence of witnesses to shepherd. One day they gave him animals without witnesses. L'sof amar lahu lo hayu dvarim me'olam. Then he said, "I never had any animals." Atu sadeh ashidu beit achal tarte minayim. Witnesses came and said he ate two of them. Amar Rabbi Zera, im ita l'Rabbi Chia kamaita mishtaba ashara. If we were to hold according to Rabbi Chia's first halacha, then this shepherd would have to make an oath about the rest of the animals. Amar le,
because what was Rabbi Chia's halacha kamaita?
Rabbi Chia says, if I say you say to me you have 100 dinars of mine, I say I have nothing, and then witnesses say you have I have 50 of yours, then I have to make an oath on the other 50.
Exactly, and we don't say it's kol for bakol.
Right.
All right.
So in this case,
we're Rabbi Landis. We're just reviewing Daf Hey, the bottom of Daf Hey.
So he's taken all of the animals. Witnesses say you ate two of them, and according to Rabbi Chia's first halacha, he would have to now make an oath that he did not steal the rest of the animals.
Exactly.
Amar le Abaye, im ita mishtaba hagazlanhu. Abaye said, "What do you mean we would make him swear? He's a gazlan." Amar le shekenegdo kamina. Rabbi Zera said, "I wasn't talking about making him swear because he's a gazlan. I was talking about making the other parties swear in order to get their property back." Hashtanami delated ledur Rabbi Chia nechayve midir Rav Nachman. Well, in any case, even if Rabbi Chia's position is not, even if we don't hold by Rabbi Chia's position, we should still make him make an oath according to Rav Nachman. Titnan maneli biyadcha ein lecha biyadi patur. V'amar Rav Nachman mashbiyin oto shvuat hesed.
Right. So that's kol for a call. That's kol for a call, and he's saying make him do a shvuat hesed even though he's kol for a call midoraita. He wouldn't have to swear. But midirabanan, he'll swear. So
we have an incitement shvua.
Okay.
Shvua says should I read the Rashi or keep going?
No, good. Keep going.
Okay, so we still make him swear as a sort of double extra surety. Do have Nachman tekantahi? Tekanta lavdinan. So we're not going to add Rav Nachman's position because we already have a different takana operating here, which is making the other parties swear in order to get their money back. We're not going to add a second takana, which is now making the shepherd also swear.
Wait, you said that in a weird way. Maybe you said it right, but
the first takana we have that is already operating is the making shekenegdo,
which would be
that's takana level
1. Right, and then we say, well, wait, what was the takana to the takana? Why was it takana to the takana?
Because then you'd have two extra rabbinic shvuot operating. This is what Rashi says.
Wait, just a second. He said Hagazlanhu. As Amar Leilo. I'm just gonna go back. Amar Le, maybe I was distracted. Hagazlanhu. Amar Le Shekenegdo. What I meant was Kenegdo Kamina. I meant that obviously the shepherd wouldn't swear because he's a gazlan. I meant that the other one would swear, and that's the din of Rav Chia. Really, the shepherd should swear, but then we put it to Rabbanan that Kenegdo will swear. Now we say hashtanami delayed Rav Chia, even if I don't hold like Rav Chia. So the first takana would be, really, I don't hold like the Chia. So really, he's patur. Nichayev midirav Nachman. The Tanan, in other words, really midoraita, he's like Kofer Bakol. He doesn't have a shavua, and I don't hold like Rav Nachman. But what do I hold? I don't hold like Rav Chia. But what do I hold? I hold like Rav Nachman. And Rav Nachman says, "Manali biadcha," which is I'm claiming on you. Ein lecha biadi. I say you don't have. I'm Kofer Bakol patur. I'm patur. I'm a Rav Nachman mashbim oto shavuot hesed. So that's just one Rabbanan. In other words, really, he's patur, and so too in this case, he's not like Rav Chia. He's patur, but we'll put a shavua on him. And now the Gemara says the Rav Nachman takantahi. Rav Nachman itself is a takana, but takana the takana law of dinan. Rav Nachman is a takana. A takana the takana law of dinan. Rashi says the shekenegdo yishba v'yitol havyenami takana. In other words, first of all, you're saying that Rav Nachman would say that he should swear, but obviously here he can't swear because he's a ganav. So you're gonna have to say that the that the people who deposited their sheep with him would swear. Well, that's the din of kenegdo. But turn it onto the other side. But that's a din Rabbanan. So we have a din Rabbanan and another din Rabbanan, which we got started with, which Rav Nachman was the initial cause of this whole din, because really he's called for Bakal. And then we say on that we'll add kenegdo, and kenegdo is also Rabbanan. So that's a takana l'takana.
But I think the Rav Nachman here would be the takana l'takana, not the kenegdo being takana l'takana.
No. That's what I'm correct. Exactly what I'm correcting you on, or I think I'm correct.
Right, because this is part of why Rashi on the Nechayve points out that he says like we should Nechayve shvuat hesed, and since he can't take it, then the shavah shekenegdo, right? That the Rav Nachman would be the first step, and then since he couldn't take it, we would want to flip it. But since
exactly, Rav Nachman is the first step, and then on top of that, we want to apply kenegdo because obviously he can't swear himself. Even Rav Nachman would agree that he can't swear because he's a thief. So that's where we get on top of it another shvuah. And now go on. Now there's a kind of a side point here, and just read it quickly just to actually, you know what? I take it back. We can stop there. That's all we need to read for now. The rest of the thing is just a side point, really. And then I want to go back to the Tosfot. Actually, you know what? Let's go straight to the Ktzot now. Now let's go to Ktzot. Oh, do it. Wait a second. Wait, just a second. No, Takana to Takana. Let's see the Tosfot. Takana to Takana. We got to at least see that. So, Alan, maybe you read this. This is just very short. Tosfot.
Takanta the Takanta. Umitor sheina cholishva meshalem lo shayachacha kedeprishi. Okay.
Translate.
Because the roa cannot take an oath, because the shepherd cannot take an oath, he pays, and
I give him a chance.
Yes, sorry, I did not catch this, so I'm just trying to figure out. But right, the roa is going to need to pay, right? But what is not shayach?
That din, the din.
Somehow help me out. Oh, the kind of forcing him to take an oath.
No, not forcing him to make an oath.
I think the din
that that he would pay.
The fact that he can't swear makes him pay. That is not shayach here.
There's a very important.
We probably don't want to necessarily say takana, but the principle that
oh, thank you, Lexi. Yes, Lexi is reminding us that we're about to see. Yes. So the concept of this is how you read that Tosfos. It's short, but it's not. You have to read it twice or three times to understand the grammar of it. This is the grammar is like this. Umitoch she'enu yachol l'shava mishalem. That is a halachic concept. That thing called mitoch she'enu yachol l'shava mishalem, a person who can't swear is required to then pay. That whole concept lo shayachacha is not applicable in our context. And then he adds the next perplexing word, kedeparisht, as I have explained. Lexi, this is so perplexing because we are going to have a debate about where he explained this.
I mean, we read one of the Tosfots where they explained it last week.
We read both of the Tosfots, yes, and we read the other one where he explains it earlier. We will see in the. Did you see? Did you learn? Lexi? Did you learn the Ktzot?
Yes, like it's not so puzzling, as in they clearly explained it, as in it's just puzzling.
That's what I mean. Puzzling where it is explained. So what's the most obvious answer? So it says here, Amud Aleph. I don't know if you have this in your print. Mine says Amud Aleph, Ayin Aleph, means Amud Aleph, Divra Matriel Shekenegdo. In it where it says Shekenegdo. So that's the Tos. So let's go right there. So let's go back and say this is where he explained why we don't say Mitoch. Well, first of all, what is his topic? What is his proposal? First of all, Tosfos is suggesting. Well, wait a second. He can't swear here because he's a thief. And why don't we just say, let him pay? Why we saying we do kenegdo? Let him say mitoch. Mitoch is our simple word for explain. Mitoch she'eino yachol l'shalem yishalem. Why don't we say let him pay? So fine, he's a ganav. So force him to pay. He can't make the oath because he's a ganav. Force him to pay. Why didn't the Gemara suggest that? I'll tell you why. Look at my previous Tosfot. So let's look at the previous Tosfot. So Alan, keep reading. We'll give you another Tosfot.
So about the Tosfot connected Gamin, right?
It's like yes.
Yeah. Vim Tamar Maishna to Bechassid al Shua Shekenekta Nishma Venotel. Right. If you're going to raise the objection, why should someone who's suspected of the Gneva, why should they need to? Why should his opponent get to swear and collect? Amayla Aminan mitoch she'eino yachol l'shava mishalem keda amar gabe chamishin yadana v'chamishin lo yadana uvenascha deRabbi Abba.
Wait. Let me go back. Ve'im tomar, and if you say, Ma'ishna, what is the difference? Ma'ishna, what is the difference? The bechashud al hashavua shekenegdo nishba v'notel. That when we say a person is chashud on shavua and he can't make the shavua, then we say his counterparty will swear and take. There's this the person who is the tovea will just swear that he really is owed the money and take it. And on that we can ask, why do we say that and not say va'amai lo amrinan? So pick it up from there.
Right. Why don't we say, since he's not able to swear, he should just pay the whole amount?
Right. In other words, basically we're asking a very interesting question, which is, I can put it in a more general sense. When do we say mitoch and when do we say kenegdo? In other words, we have a situation where the guy can't swear. And we have two possible candidates for what to do in this case. Two possible rabbinic concepts. One is let the alternative party swear. And the other concept is don't even have him swear, just make him pay the money. make the guy pay without having the alternative party swear. So he's asking when do we say which? And why did we say here shekenegdo and we didn't suggest mitoch? The Gemara did not suggest mitoch. Go ahead.
Right. Hacha yamrin mishalem lo shafyatay chaye dechol halam yavihu leidei shua v'yitlu kol asher lo.
Wait. You jumped to Yesh Lomar. What are the cases?
Okay,
First,
so
what are the
there's-
cases?
Yes, there's the case of in Bava Metza Tzadichet, where he says, I know about 50 and I don't know about 50.
In other words, he admits to 50.
Right, he's not Kofar Kol. He says,
He admits
I
to
stole
50, and about the other 50,
he says, I
says,
have no
"Lo
idea
yadana."
what happened.
So what's the case? So what is the din there?
He pays. He pays.
pays.
He pays all
Why?
100.
Why does he pay?
Well, that parak is about Shomrim, right? So he would be responsible for.
Well, he
for the
should have
entire
just sworn. He should have just sworn that he doesn't owe the other 50, and that would be a normal case of motive and miktzat, and he'd be patur. Why does he have to pay in this case?
He's not willing to swear.
Why is he not willing to swear?
Is it because he doesn't have the certainty to be able to swear?
Because he can't swear. Exactly. This is a Torah oath, and he can't swear. Oh, I'm sort of foreshadowing what we're going to see, but this is a Torah. This is an oath, and he have to swear. I don't owe it, but he says, maybe I do owe, maybe I don't owe it. I can't. You can't make me swear because I don't even know. So he can't swear because he doesn't know. His lack of knowledge makes it impossible for him to swear. And then another case, ubanascha.
Right, and this is in Shvuot.
What's that
Rabbi
case?
Abba, the silver piece of Rabbi Abba.
And what happened there?
Right, someone steals snatches away the silver piece, and the witness testifies
That he snatched it.
The guy snatched it, and the gunner says, "I did snatch it, but it was mine."
Right. And what do we say there?
We say if he can't swear, he pays.
Well, but right, since he can't swear, he pays.
pays.
Why can't he swear? Now, there's actually Rashi sort of gives a couple of reasons why he can't swear.
Right, because he is considered like a gunner if he was just
That's one
snatching
reason.
stuff.
Can you think of another reason why he can't swear?
I'm just trying to remember the Rashi there.
No, you don't have to look at the Rashi. You can just think, what could be another reason not to swear?
Heck, is it? I mean, if it's a.
Well, what
nascha,
would his oath be?
It's a nascha. Can he be sure that it's his?
What would this oath be? The witness, the way aid would say you snatched it. What is the din of when a single witness comes and tells you something? How do you swear regarding that? What do you do to that witness? What do you say about that witness?
I'm not sure.
Aaron, what do you say?
He can't swear because the thing he would be asked to swear on is something he admits, and the thing that he wants to swear on is not something he's being asked to swear on.
Exactly. That's exactly. He wants to. The Torah is requiring to swear that the witness is a liar. I didn't snatch it. That's what you. When there's a single witness that comes against you, you're expected to swear against that witness that he's telling a falsehood. And here he's admitting that the witness is right. So what would he swear? There's nothing he would swear. And what he'd like to swear, exactly like Aaron said, he's not being asked to swear. He'd like to swear that's his, but we never asked him that. So he can't swear, and therefore he has to pay. So now he's going to explain, why don't we say that Kenegdo in our case? He's a ganaf. He's a ganaf. He can't swear because he's a ganaf. So let him pay. So Yesh Lomar.
Yesh Lomar. Hacha yemrin Meshalem lo shafket lechaye. B'chol ha'olam yavihu lidei shvua v'yitzul kol asher lo.
What does that mean?
Right. So if we were to consistently apply the principle of a person who can't swear needing to pay an oath, everyone would just come along and ask this guy, would
Yeah.
make this guy
They
try
would just say, I also gave him my animals.
Right, that's it. They level the accusation. He
And
can't
then he
take an oath on
couldn't
it,
swear, and then he has to pay them.
Right, and so
So
he'd be
this is like
totally out of
an
business.
untenable law, an untenable situation we would create that everybody in the world would come and take this guy's sheep. Okay. And then he goes on.
But Dehatam Amarle Shvua Dereita Itli Elech. Oh, Teshuvah O Teshan. So over there,
Now there's the other two cases.
Right. The Toveya says, it says to the person who would the roa that would be making a shvua, I have a shvua dereita to like level against you, either swear or pay. Aval hacha hu baraton yeshva im ninichanu yeshva im ninichanu l'chach lo yishalem.
So what is the Toveya saying over in the two cases that we just discussed with Naska de Rabbi Abba and the Chetz Chamishim Lo Yadana? What does the Toveya want to say?
He wants to say you.
What does he want to force the guy to swear?
I didn't steal this.
Exactly.
Either the
right. He says, swear to me the Torah. I got a Torah swear on you. You're not going to swear because of your cockamamie story that you did it and it's yours. So that's your problem. I want you to swear. So swear to me or pay up. And so too in the case of Chamishim Lo Yadana. I'll start telling me you don't know. I don't know. I don't remember. I do not recall, Senator. I do not recall. Don't give me these stories. Pay, swear, or pay. But here, the shepherd is saying, I'm happy to swear. It's just you guys don't believe my oath because I'm a ganef, but I would be swearing. So it sounds like I like this second answer. The second answer is very nice. He's saying whenever it depends on who. In other words, it depends on who's being asked, or how do you say, who is the cause? What is the cause of the not swearing? If the nitba, if the person who's being requested to pay money is himself creating a circumstance that he doesn't want, that he can't swear because of his claims that he doesn't know, or that it's really he did take it but it's his, then we're going to say, well, then tough luck, Charlie, you have to pay. But when the rabbis impose upon him a law, or the Torah imposes upon him a law that he can't swear, then Nebuch, he can't swear, so the other guy should swear. Okay, that is the background for the Ktzot. I mean, there's more. I said everything that I sent you is background. There's a lot of background. There's daf. Right? All those places that I sent you, I added. There's 6 sources. Anyway, the Ktzot is obviously a baki in the Shas, so he quotes. Yeah, he has a lot of breath to quote from.
Nachum?
Yeah.
Okay, I have to leave in a second. I'll speak to a nurse. I have 2 things. In the course of what's being happened, it seems to me that there's a question that I have. The question I have is that there seems to be a reyusa for almost every situation. In the case of any Choli Shava, Mishalem, could very well be unjust. Basically, Mishalem's unjust. Could be. Might be the only thing we could do, but Mishalem is unjust. That's the reyusa over there. The reyusa in the terms that the reyusa in the terms of Kignegdo Nishvaz, that's what the reyusa is. Kignegdo Nishvaz seems to just be an irritant. Might not want to swear, but he's allowed to swear in general cases. So maybe you'll have to just find the exceptions. But I think generally it's okay. And the case of Goslin seems to be coming really from right field, because the Goslin, the fact that he's booksuck, because the Goslin has nothing to do with the tainas in the case themselves. It's just like an external factor. I got to go talk to this nurse. The second thing I want to say, which is out of far right field, I made friends with some of the members of the Kollel here, or Kollel that's attached here, on Friday. Now they came over to hear the shir, and they want to know if 2 of you want shidduchim possibilities. So, so Alan and Lexi, I don't know. The field is open. Just telling you. It's just so you should know. Okay, Nachum, thank you very much. But you saw my question? Maybe it was not a question to you. Okay, I'll try to come back later. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you.
Happily dating, but thank you.
Okay, I mean, actually, I was asked to make chavrutas for somebody. I'm happy to make chavrutas. That's the end of my interest. Okay, let's go on. Okay, so open up. Well, I have this very nice edition of the. So there's actually much nicer editions, like Raphael was saying with Perushim. I think there's something called the Milui HaHoshen, but I don't have that. But I just have a Ktzot HaHoshen with the Shulchan Aruch, so it's easy for me to learn the Shulchan Aruch and the Choshen and the Ktzot HaHoshen together. So, I want to. Yeah.
Did you also want to do the Tosfot on 3b?
We'll get if he when he mentions it, we may or may not go there. First, I just want to. That's enough for now. Okay, but I do want to do right. I told you guys to look at that Tosfot. There's other things I have to say about that Tosfot. Truth is, we should really go back to Amud Bet and start all over again and get everything correct. But anyway, there's a limit to what we could do. Look, I don't know if you guys have the Shulchan Aruch in front of you, maybe in Siman Sadi Bet. That's where the Ktzos is. Pull up Siman Sadi Bet, and I want to look at Halacha Zayin and Halacha Yud Aleph.
I can go get it. It's another room. I'll be right back.
Okay. We'll wait for Josie. Where is our Max is not here, and the other Alan is not here, and also Jessica.
So which seif of Nachman?
Sadi Bet Sif Zion, and then we'll look at Yud Aleph.
Okay.
Okay, so Zion. Here, Raphael, why don't you read Zion? But
yes, just a second. My internet fell for a second.
Or maybe I'll ask Josie.
Maybe something else better for
Yeah, I'll
sorry.
ask Josie. Yeah.
It says Mishnit Chayev Shuvat Daraita, Behu Hashud al Shua Kishenegdo Nishba Venotel.
All right, explain.
Sounds pretty familiar. Someone is required to give a Torah oath, and he's suspected to not be eligible to give such an oath. The person who is the To'en, who's the challenger, he takes the oath and collects his due.
Exactly. That's the Shua de Rabbanan of Kenegdo. Okay, Ve'im. Go on.
Ta'anad Vadai, Ve'im Shnehem Hashudim, Hazra Shua Linitba, Umitoch She'enu Yachol Yeshava Mishalem. And if the person making the claim is also is making a certain claim, and they're both hashudim, they're both ineligible to make a claim, to make an oath rather, the shvua returns to the defendant, and because he is not capable to make an oath, he must repay.
Right. So in other words, we say, by the way, he's paskening particularly by a shavua deraita. This whole sif is a shavua deraita. So it goes back to the nitva, and now we say, well, you have to swear. You can't swear. We can't do kenegdo. So it sounds almost like we have if then else. Like if you could do kenegdo, then do kenegdo, and if you can't, then we do the din of mitoch. It sounds like, right? That's what it sounds like. I'm not saying that's wrong, but it sounds like it's very simple that way.
Well,
if you can't do kenegdo, then do mitoch and pay.
Right, it's part of a dispute in the Gemara, right? It's one of two opinions. The other
Yeah.
opinion says
So
Yachloku.
which opinion is this? This is in Shavuos Daf Mem Zayin, and this is the opinion of Rabbi Abba. This is the opinion of Rabbi Abba. And right, and then keep reading in the Ramah.
Hagav yeshu ben yachloku.
Oh, there are those that say you should do a
Divide.
different thing. You should just divide it 50-50, split the difference. Nobody wins. So this is the opinion. Well, according to the Mishnah, it sounds like it's Rav Meir. This is the Mishnah in Shavuos Mem Hey Amud Aleph, but the Gemara then seems to say it's actually the Mishnah is reverse and it's Rav Yossi. But either way, this is an opinion in the Mishnah that you do lachlok. So we have two opinions in the Gemara what to do, and the two opinions in the Mishnah what to do, two opinions in the Gemara what to do, and two opinions in the Halacha what to do. But in any case, but let's ignore the idea of Yachloku. Let's just stick with the idea of Kenegdo. Now look at Yud Aleph.
By the way, I mean, the Ramah goes on there. V'chein yira li ladun, and what's
Oh, you want to read that? Read that. Fine, read that.
Says v'chein yira li ladun dehamotzi mehaver alav haraya.
So as he goes with the second opinion, the Yachloku. In other words, mapitom that you make him pay without any proofs. He just makes a claim, and you have no proofs. Motzi mechaver alav haraya. Go on.
ויש אומרים דבחשוד שכנגדו נשבע ונוטל דווקא שלא היה יודע כשעסק עמו שהיה חשוד.
Right. Only if you didn't know that this was like a gambler or some kind of puzzle 80s. But if you knew what you were getting into, aval lav hachi.
V'lav hachi lo, sorry, blanking.
De'im lo ken.
De'im lo ken. Kol echad yasok im hashud v'yishava v'yitol.
B'diuk. That's kind of like the Tosfot. Tosfos is saying if he's chashud, Tosfos talks about in general. Sorry, he's making specific. He's saying only if it was known ahead of time. Tosfos says anytime he's whatever. Whatever. I don't want to try to explain it, but too much. But the point is, he's just saying if you know that he is chashud, then it would cause too much trouble. Everybody would come and deal with this guy. But if he's unknown that he was chashud at the time, then we'll say kenegdo. Okay. Now let's go to Yud Aleph. Because that's where the Ktzot actually picks up from. But that was just what we learned. I mean, that Zion was really just what we learned in the Gemara. And now Yud Aleph, continue, Joseph.
נתחייב החשוד שבועת הסת, אין כשנגדו נשבע ונוטל, אלא הרי הנתבע ניפטר, below שבועה.
All right, so what's this case?
So this case, someone who is ineligible to make an oath, but is required to do to make a shvuat hesed.
What's a shvuat hesed?
This is this rabbinic oath that one makes in the absence of what is it? Rashi says the full definition of it. Sorry, missing the page here. In just a moment. I said lashon shomer sheshmo hachamim alav shua kamo im Hashem hasiti chabi. So this is just it's a rabbinic oath to prevent, just to keep the world running orderly.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Right. So it's a rabbinic oath, unlike Sif Zayin, which is a Torah oath. So here's a rabbinic oath. So what do we do here? He's chashud. Who's chashud?
This is the nit'an, the person who's being accused.
Right. The nitba. Right. The nitba. The defendant is chashud. So then we say.
Ein kishenegdo nishba v'notel. The other person does not make a similar oath.
Why?
Ela hare hanitba nipater.
Why doesn't the other guy make an oath?
It's not a deraita oath, it's a derabanan oath.
And so what?
So
What did the Gemara say? What did our Gemara say? There was a way that they said you can't do this. This is exactly the case of our Gemara.
This is the takanta and the takanta.
Exactly. This is a takana la takana because it's already a rabbinic oath, and then you're going to say kenegdo. That would be another rabbinic, so we don't do it. Exactly our Gemara.
Elahari hanitba nipater below shvua.
So that's it. We're just go back to the Torah law, and the Torah law is that there's no shuvah hesed. So who cares that this guy is pasul for whatever reason? Anyway, he didn't have to really swear according to the Torah. So we'll just leave it as it. We'll take our hands out. The rabbis will take their hands out of the pot and leave it as the Torah law, and he'll be patur.
Machrimin stam. We condemn him. We put him in cherem.
Yeah.
Al misha kafar mamon chavero ve'en mashalem lo. We give him a cherem that says, you know, you're a bad person because you took money, you denied owing money to somebody,
and you didn't pay, and you didn't swear, and you didn't pay. Now read the Ramah.
Mihu hanidba yachol lamar hishavavatol ve'az patur afilu mikabalat cherem. So here in any case, you might say that the
you might say, well, you might say, oh yeah, you might say, mihu, no, not my, you might say, mihu hanitba yachol lomar. He is permitted to say.
He could say he wants to take an oath and take.
Who's hishava v'tol? Who's saying? Who's talking to who?
So the accuser may say, "Let me take an oath and take."
No, the other way around. The defendant says, "I don't want to be in cherem. It's true that I'm patur, but I don't like being in cherem. I'm a good Jew. I don't want to be in cherem." So he's allowed to say to the tovea,
"You take an oath.
You take an oath, and then you'll get the money, and I'll give you the money. I voluntarily forfeit my Torah."
So that I don't get in harem.
So that I don't get in harem. Va'az patur from harem afilu mikabel. Right. Az patur afilu mikabel. Right. Okay. So that's the Shulchan Aruch. A little bit of it. We saw a difference between Deraita and Derabanan. We saw that you don't say kenegdo. The Shulchan Aruch did not talk about mitoch in the Derabanan. At least what we saw. He just talked about kenegdo in Derabanan. We don't say kenegdo in Derabanan. What about mitoch in Derabanan? He didn't talk about that. So on that note, let's look at Yud in the Ktzot HaHoshen. So he says like this. Chashud Shavua Hesed. So this is Vahu Mivuar Mimasha Amru B'Shas Tekanta L'Tekanta Lo Avdina. Just like Josie said, Takana Takana, we don't do. This is the Gemara, Beperakama de Bava Metza, Daf Hey, Amud Bet. And it's also Gabe Hahu Raya, regarding that shepherd. And it also appears in Perak Shvut HaDayanim in Shavuos Mem Aleph Amud Aleph. That was one of the sources I told you to look at. Ayin Sham. So that's just the idea of the Takana. V'ayin betosfos gabi hahu raya, and look at that tosfos divra matchil takana v'zel lishona, and that's the tosfos that Alan read for us. Umitoch she'enu yachol lishava mishalem lo shayach acha kideparisht, as I explained ad kan lishona. Ubetshuvot marshach, sorry. Chelik Aleph Daf Kuf Samachet. Hiksha al divrei Tosos. He doesn't like this Tosos. Zal. Tosos, no, V'zel Lashono. No, I'm not sure if that's Zal. Tosos Zal, I think. Lama kivnu hatosot. What did the Tosos referring to? I kivnu. Now, what is the Tosos? This is his kash. I think Zel Lashono. Lama kivnu hatosos. This is the lashon of the Marshach. He says, what were the Tosfos thinking about? I kivnu lakshot v'lomar. Did they want to ask this question? Da'afal gav de tekanta lo avdina. It's true that we don't do a tekana tekana. Mikol mako. Nema mitoch she'enu yachol l'shava mishalem. Well, that's how we understood it. That's how I understood the Tosfos. I understood the Tosfos that it's true that we don't do a tekana tekana, but let him do mitoch. Va'amai patrinan le mitashlumin. So why is he exempt from tashlumin? Let him do mitoch. V'kasha. And if the kasha dehechi matze lemeimar hacha mitoch, but it's difficult, says the Marashach, because how could we say mitoch in this case? Kevan daha the Rav Nachman tekanta umay damrinan mitoch have tekanta letekanta, because mitoch itself is a rabbinic law, and Rav Nachman was a rabbinic law. So why would the Tosos even have a havamina that to say mitoch is not shayach here? Obviously, Mitoch is not Meshayach here because it's a takana takana. Why did Tosos even ask this question? And why did he say, like I explained? It's another example of takana takana. So what's Tosos' question? You understand? He's saying, what's the halamin of Tosot? Kamosha katava Tosos le'el. Like Tosos says, le'el divra amatku b'kulei boy lode. Like he said over in Kula boy lode in on Daf Gimel Amud Bet. Let's look there quickly. So this is Gimel Amud Bet. And so
first Tosfos on the page.
Yeah, the first Tosfos on the page. Look to where it says, look where it says Rabbeinu Hananel right on the right side. I'm not going to read the whole thing right now. We might, if we have time at the end, we'll go back to this. But look on where it says mashma. The first word on line is mashma. You see that? It's like by me, it's where Rabbeinu Hananel is. Maybe not by you. It's right after where it says Shavuot in Sograyim. In parentheses, it says Shavuot Daf Lamed Bet Amud Bet. You got that?
Yep.
Josie, you got that? Okay. So there it says Mashma de'i amar lo chatafti. It sounds that if he would have said, or it implies that if he would have said, I didn't take haya nishba lachish, then he would swear, right? Because I think he's talking about the Nascha de Rabbi Abba. But the mashma the amar lo chatafti. If he said I didn't take haya nishba lachish, he would swear against his aid lachish aid shavua d'oraita, and that would be a shavua d'oraita. How does he know it's mashma? That how does he know that shavua of against an aid would be d'oraita? Mida amar mitoch she'eno yachol l'shalem mishalem ve'eno yachol l'shava yishalem. Because it applied the din of mitoch to it. And then what does he say next line? Da ashavua de rabbanan lo amar hachi. Because on a shavua that would be rabbinic, we would never say mitoch. Why would we never say mitoch? Because it's a takana l'takana. So you see that this Tosfos seems to say, well, I say in the big letters seems to say, because it's not how, but that's how that's how the Marashach is understanding it. He's saying it's takana. So we would never even think to say mitoch. So back to in other words, that Tosfos seems to imply that we only say mitoch on a din d'oraita. We don't say mitoch on a din d'Rabbanan. So the Marashach says What's the havamina here? It's obvious that we don't say mitoch because takana takana. So I'm back to here. Takana takana. K'moshe katuva tosus la'el gimel. Divrei amathil bekule boy lode. Everyone's with me back in the Ktzot? Back to the Ktzot, Lexi?
So back in the, so sorry, we're still in the Maharshach. We're at the.
Yeah. I know. I didn't mean. Yeah. Exactly. Bekule boy lode. Yeah. We're
Imkan, right?
Imkan, exactly there. So Imkan.
Right. Imkan,
Wait. Actually, I'm going to keep reading. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure you were with me, but I want to read it because it's easy to say it wrong and it's easy for me to get lost. So if I read it, I won't get lost. But Imkan kihechi de lo amrinan shekenegdo nishpa v'notel mishum takana. So it seems that just like we don't say by kenegdo, right? Kenegdo, when we say the other guy, we don't say the kenegdo nishba v'notel mishum takana. Hachanami lo amrinan mitoch. So too, we don't say mitoch mehai taima for that exact same reason. Ad kan l'shana. So he says, so he doesn't understand Tosfos because Tosfos himself said earlier that it's a takana we don't do. That mitoch is the Rabbanan, and therefore the law of takana we wouldn't apply. Now, and therefore we don't need to use what reasoning? We don't need to use the reasoning of daf hey, or the other Tosfot. The other Tosfot says lo shavik inish. He'll become poor if we would say mitoch, or the other reasoning, what was the other reasoning? In other words, the alternative possibility is what the commentary on the side of the page said. When we read this Tosfos takana on the side of the page, it said ayin. It said Amud Aleph Daf Dira Matchil Kenegdo, and in Kenegdo he gave a different reason. He didn't say takana. He said because Amar le Shavua Doraita Isli, because he could tell him you have a Shavua, so swear, and if you can't swear, then pay. But here he'd be happy to pay. Here he'd be happy to swear, just that he's a ganav. So he says, but why would you even need to go back to that Tosfos? Go or earlier Tosfos where he said it's takana, just like, and that's what the Gemara is saying here. So that's ad kan l'shana. So that's the opinion. That's the kasha on the Tosfot. Ubeshut Marash Halevi Chelek Choshen Mishpat Katav Al Zeh V'Zeh L'Shana. And this is what he says. So I brings in a second opinion. Va'ani sho'el mechila me'atzmotav hakadoshim. I request forgiveness from his holy bones. Va'omer, he's very reverent here. Va'omer dezeh atzmo kivnu atosfos. What are you asking Akasha? That is what Tosfos intended. B'masha amru umitoch lo shayach hacha. When they said mitoch is lo shayach hacha, they didn't mean it's lo shayach here because it would cause him a financial loss, but they meant it's lo shayach here because takana. Lo shayach hacha k'de perished. Perush k'moshe perashti la'el b'divra amatil shebekule boy lelode andaf gimel v'have taima v'have takana. That's what they meant. So you're saying what's the havamina? He's just telling you there's no havamina. The havamina is he's just reminding you that it's takana. That's taka what Tosfos was saying. So there's no kasha on Tosfos. V'lo koi k'de parashnu la'el l'masha kasav b'divra amatil kenegdo, and it doesn't refer to the Tosfos on daf hey ka'amina, but uvda deraya in the case of the shepherd. Because that, we don't need to explain it that way. We just simply say it's takana. K'moshe chashav harav. But unlike what the rabbi thought, that it was referring to that Tosfot. Right. Kamo shechashav harav. This is some probably nice approbation. I don't know exactly what it is, but that he's the wonderful guy. Okay. So the so far the Ktzos just brought opinions that maybe the Tosos has no Havamina, maybe he does. We brought two different opinions, and now the Tosos, now that's all quotes. Questions until here.
By the way, it's Zichroi L'chayei Ha'olam Haba, like the Ha'olam Haba.
Chrono L'chayei Olam Haba. Good. That
Like
his.
we say, Salah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I said, he's a nice guy. Let him have a good life in the world. And here he is. You see, he's such a good guy that how many years later, about 600 years later or 500 years later, we're still speaking his words. It says, Tzadikim, I don't remember exactly the quote, but Tzadikim siftotehem zazot bekever, something like that, that their lips move in the grave. And what? Say Raphael? Lachashot?
Mirachashot.
Mirachashot.
Like whisper.
They whisper in the grave. So the explanation I would give to that is that when we read their words here, it's as though they're speaking. We're reliving them. We're reinvigorating them. So okay. So those are these opinions. And now he says, Umidivreihem. This is now the Ktzos talking. Umidivreihem lamadnu dahada amrina mitoch eno Torah. Both of these rabbis agree that which we say mitoch is not a Torah law, ela tekanat chachamim. Because one says it's because one says it should have been that he said it's tekanat tekana, and the other says he is. That's what he's saying. It's tekanat tekana. But either way, they both agree that it's a tekanat tekana. V'kvar katavti b'siman ayin hey sifkat and yud aleph the havi deraita. So in his note over there, he says, no, you're both wrong. It's actually a deraita law mitoch. And therefore, tekana is not shayach here. The Yalifla, Perek Kol Nishba'im. This is Daf Mem Zayin in Shavuos, which I also added to the sources later, but you probably didn't see. But there, actually, maybe we'll look there. Let's look there. Open up Shavuos Mem Zayin Amud Aleph. Just want to make sure that the Ktzos is not misleading us, that it's Doraita. Now, and because especially these two great rabbis did not know, they forgot about the Gemara and Shavuos. I mean, I didn't remember the Gemara and Shavuos, but they should have, surely. Mem Zayin Amud Aleph. So here. So look at the 6 lines from the bottom of Mem Zayin Amud Aleph. Really, you should read this whole Amud. This whole Amud is very interesting. It's all about our topic. But at the bottom, it says, Ditani Rebbe Ami. See that? Everyone sees that? Yeah. Ditani Rebbe Ami. Shavuot Hashem Tiye Bein Shnehem. That the oath should be between the two of them. V'lo bein hayorshim, and not between the yorshim. In other words, my father, died, or someone's father died, and they left him a debt to collect, and the person that to collect from also died, and his yitomim are now supposed to be collected from. So then you have a shavua between two people. Says the Torah, Shavua Tashem Tiye Bein Shnehem V'lo Bein HaYorshim, but not between the next generation if the debt wasn't collected on time or before the deaths. Hechidam. Now the Gemara asks, Hechidam, what's the case? If you say it's a simple case of maneh, 100, la'aba biyad, la'aba, my father was owed by your father 100. Mana la'aba biyad avicha, right? My father was owed by your father 100. V'amar le chamishin is le v'chamishin leisle. And if they say, well, we know about 50, but we deny the other 50. So then the Gemara says, Mali hu umali avuha. What's the difference between whether it's him or his father? Either way, this is a modev and miktzat, and he should have to be an oath. There should have to be an oath. What does it matter that it's the next generation? The Torah couldn't possibly be talking about this case saying that there's no shavua. There obviously would be a shavua here. Elalavda amar le mana lavicha biyad mana le'aba biyad avicha. It must be a case of them having said, you owe me 100. V'amar le chamishim yadana v'chamishin lo yadana. And 50 I know about and I'll pay you. And 50 I don't know about. Now, 50 I don't know about. So, and in that case, we don't say to have an oath. Implication that if it would be a similar case, but with the original parents, that's the next Gemara. Imers bishlama aviv ki hai gavna mechayev itztarikra the miftar. So it must be, it makes sense that in such a case, the parents would have to make an oath. They would have to make an oath. What do you mean? Wait, mechayev, or they have to make an oath. What do you mean oath? He doesn't know. So look at Rashi. Aviv ki hai gavna mechayev shavua umitok she'eno yachol l'shava daha eno yodea. He can't make an oath because he doesn't even know. He's just saying. In other words, in a parallel case, if it would be their parents, we would make an oath, but of course we can't make an oath. Eno yodea v'ka'amar l'shalem, and therefore we have to pay. Hainu ditztari kra l'meute, and that's why we need a pasuk to tell us don't do this by the yatomim, by the children. The miftar b'yoresh. Therefore, we need a pasuk to say it doesn't apply to the yorshim. Shito and tana kazu. So that's all you have to see. So what's the? So we're learning here now a proof d'oraita from this pasuk that there's a ptor for yatomim on paying, because obviously they can't swear when they don't know. So it's a ptor here for them to pay when they couldn't swear. And that implies that the Torah recognizes that there's a normal din of them not being, of when they don't know, they have to pay. So that's the source for mitoch being d'oraita. Everyone's with me? Questions? Aaron, you're with me? You like this proof?
It's not a bad one. I don't know that I would be able to argue with it so compellingly.
So these other rabbis were saying that it was the Rabbanan, but they didn't remember this Gemara, or they didn't know the Rashi. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you could learn the Gemara. Maybe you could learn the Gemara differently. I don't know, but it seems pretty good. So anyway, we have a proof. So you understand, we have a proof by inference, or that there must be a shavua of mitoch she'enu yachol l'shalem mishalem is d'oraita. All right, so we'll take a break here. Let me stop the recording.
Yeah. Midivrehem lemanu, the had amrina mitoch eno Torah, ela takanat chachamim. וכבר כתבנו בסימן ע"ה, סעיף י"א, דהווה דאורייתא, דליפלה פרק כל נשבעין, משבועת, what did that stand for? משבועת העניין, זה תהיה בין שניהם.
משבועת השם תהיה בין שניהם.
ולא בין היורשים, that's what we just read at the end of שבועות. ועיין שם דפריך, ורשימון, היי שבועת השם, מה דרשי בי? Right? They said, ask, what does he
Rav
darshan?
not Rav. Rav Vishmuel.
Is that Rav Shmuel?
Yeah, it's Rav Shmuel. If you see, there's a big machloket over there. Rav Shmuel.
Right. Rav Shmuel, Hai Shvat Hashem, my Kad Darshi Be, Mi Bayale, so it asks, what do they darshan out from this pasuk? And from the fact that it asks on them, what do they darshan from this pasuk? You do Alma Dahave Drasha Gemara Mina Torah. That implies that it is like mamish a drasha, right? It's like it's a doraita principle. Right, that for the non-Rav and Shmuel opinions, for the other people, that it implies that they were dafka learning this out from the pasuk, in which case it's a doraita principle.
Right, and Rav and Shmuel don't even hold mitoch at all. They don't hold mitoch. So if you hold
mitoch, so they find something else. But if you hold mitoch, then you think it's doraita.
If you hold it, you hold it's doraita, right?
Right. V'tzarich lavin tama ma'ilo amrina mitoch b'shva zerabanan. The hachazinan the gam takanat chashud. Yeah, Zakadatik lememar b'shva zerabanan. Ela mishum davei tekanta letekanta. Vayinu mishum demina Torah chashud lo mifsal l'shvua. So like, we need to understand then, if it's true that mitoch, again, for those who hold it at all, is a Torah principle, why don't we say that mitoch applies in the case of Shua Durabanan, right? Because we saw in the case of, right, the takana of somebody who is like, you know, the chashud. And
where we said about him, what din?
What should we call it? The shekenegdo yeshava.
Exactly. We said about him kenegdo.
Right, that we thought to say, the Gemara suggested, that in that case, even with the Shua Durabanan, aka the Shua Teset, that we would apply the Shekenegdo, right? But rather, since it's a Tekanta Letekanta, since that would be layering two rabbinic principles on top of each other, that's why we don't apply it there.
But in our case, where it's Duraita, we would have applied it. We should apply it.
Right, and they're saying that's because, this is interesting, we're talking about the Chashud, but now it's saying that it's because, like, right, Minhat Torah, the chashud shvua is not actually puzzle from a shvua, right? Mashkatav tosva prepare kagozo kama.
Which is interesting. Wait, that's a big chiddush. He says that mina Torah a chashud is actually not puzzle from the. It's not a puzzle from shavua. He could make a shavua. It's just the rabbi said don't do it. He's chashud. I'm not sure exactly what he means. I think he means specifically chashud and not a person who is mamish found to be a gazlan. There's a difference between chashud and a proven gazlan.
But that wouldn't make sense given the sugya we're about to see, because we don't hold that somebody who is just don't hold that chashud amona is chashud shvota. I'm not totally sure what they're doing here. It feels like he's almost trying to bring in the idea of someone who's chashud on a shvua being the rabbinic principle as opposed to the shekenegdo, but it seems like the pshat of our sugya is, again, that we're dealing with the kenegdo and the shvuat hesed as being the two tekanas, and it can't be somebody who's just chashida mamona, because as we're about to see in the next sugya, we don't say chashida mamona, chashida shvuata, like they're even midirabanan, not chashida shvuata. So it must be referring to a different thing, like Kafka, maybe like a guy, or maybe it's like, maybe it's talking about specifically like the roa and categories like that, where it's not somebody who's been like.
Exactly.
Story.
Because
anyway,
the
point is let's bring up the possibility that a chashud or maybe even a mamish gazlan is actually mutter to make a shavua, and let him go on. What does he want to say from that?
Or maybe it's that like deoraita, anyone but someone who's taken a false oath would be. I would need to actually look into that, but I'm wondering if that's the idea, that like the only deoraita would be like somebody who has been proven to take a false oath would be possible. But whatever, I haven't read the Tosfot that he's citing, so.
Okay, so let's continue.
But fine, so you mentioned that. Even if you don't agree with the Tosfot's opinion there, and you think that someone who is chashud shvua is in fact pasal midoraita, so
what does he mean by that?
Well, this is him citing the second teretz of the Tosfot, really, in the
Exactly.
Shekinah that we read. It's
He
him
says,
saying,
"Mikom
like,
makom kevan sherotzeh l'shava eno bedin sheyishalem."
oh, sorry. Maybe, interestingly, I'm now thinking about the Chashid verses, maybe as opposed to, for example, cases like the Eini Yodea, right, is what I think potentially where, like, Do Raita, we can't have them take an oath, because you cannot, in Torah, you cannot take an oath that you don't know that X, Y, or, like, yeah, you can't take an oath on something you don't know.
No, exactly.
about,
That's
right?
the
As
other
opposed
case.
to, right, as I'm saying, in contrast to somebody who can't take an oath just because we think they're generally suspicious.
Exactly. So that's nobody. You're right. He is quoting the Tosos. He's quoting that Tosos, and he's saying Mikom makom. In the
Right.
case of the
Even-
Ro'eh,
yeah, but
in the
nonetheless, he's
case of the
saying-
Ro'eh,
he's saying,
Kevan
first of all-
Sherotzeh, since the Ro'eh wants to swear, Eino Badin Sheyishalem. It's unfair to say that he should pay because he himself is willing to pay, and it's just we that don't let him pay.
Right. So this is again him citing the second period to the Tosfot.
Right.
V'kivan
Kevan she'eino ela takana.
lo avdi tekanta letakanta. Right. And again,
Aval mitoch.
aval mitoch zahaved oraita the lo takana lama lo amrinan din mitoch b'shvua derabanan. Right. Again, like that wouldn't be a takanta letakanta. Right. If
It wouldn't be a
mitoch-
takana, and who cares that he wants to pay? He can't pay. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how he's using that logic because I know how he's about to use it later here in this case.
All right, well, go on.
I think they're initially saying that because there's only the takana levels of both of these things in that scenario, there's also this additional reason, right, for not applying just like the minastam, they should always have to pay rather than the other person taking an oath because like yeah I think they're explaining why do we if the like in general why do we say again in the case of the do right to oath that we then flip right why do we not say with the chashud mitoch sheni uchol yishav shalem and now he's explaining right he's like backing up the Tosfot's answer but in a case where that's not the case in the case where you have the rabbinic layered oaths that you couldn't flip why don't we say mitoch because again, even if the oath itself, like the case of the Shvua Teset was rabbinic, the mitoch, seemingly for those who hold it, is doraita. So it wouldn't be laying your derabanans. It seems like we should apply it. V'lo tekana lama lamrina. V'od dechol poskim katvu de lamrina michtoch kabei shvua derabanan. Is that tema? V'lo zecher b'shas ala mechashud. So like all the poskim end up saying, like they agree on this principle that we don't say mitoch in the cases of Jeroboam and Shvuas, but this is surprising because the Shas only says we specifically don't apply it to someone who's chashud shvua. It doesn't say that we again
and we don't apply kenegdo. We don't apply kenegdo on a person who's chashud. It never says that we don't apply.
No, we do. Well, we do apply it on someone who's chashud if it's a doraita shvua.
Yeah.
Right. The difference. Yeah, dafka when there's a do right to shvua on someone who's chashud, we do apply shekinegdo. The difference is that again, the whole Tosfot that we read was why with someone who's chashud do we do kenegdo as opposed to mitoch she'en yachol yishavat mishalem. And so what he's pointing out, he's like, yeah, the only thing the Shas actually mentions is that we don't do mitoch specifically in the case of someone who's chashud. But that wouldn't explain why in other cases of someone who can't take an oath, but not because they're chashud, right? Again, because of other things like, for example, the Hamshin Layatana. Well, we do take it right there because that's a Doraita level oath. But in that kind of scenario, if he had become obligated in a way that was Derabanan level, right? If he had only said, if you had said, Lexi, you owe me $50, and I had said, I don't know if I owe you $50, right? On a Doraita level, I wouldn't have to take any oath, right? Because I haven't fully admitted to anything. But theoretically, presumably, the Shvua Teset would technically apply there, but we couldn't apply it because I can't take an oath to the effect of, I don't know, right? And therefore, like we don't actually see anywhere explicitly in Shas that we don't say mitoch in non-chashud cases where you can't take the Shvua. V'kafar hikshem harash halevi bahad amrina perik Shvua dayanin. Ma'ika ben shvua doraita l'shvua derabanan v'lama lo amrina nafka mina inyan mitoch. Right. Also, if it's true that mitoch categorically doesn't apply to derabanan shvut, then why did it have to ask this question in Shvut Dayanin? Oh, what are like the meaningful distinctions between a Torah level and a rabbinic level shvua? There would be a very obvious answer, which is that with a Torah level shvua we apply mitoch, and with a rabbinic level shvua we don't.
Right. All right. I'm going to pick it up from here. Okay. So basically, what he's saying is like this: that for some reason we don't say shavua, we don't say mitoch and shavua derabanan, but it doesn't seem to be because takana, because takana wouldn't apply here because it's deraita. So what is the reason that we don't say mitoch? Let's say in our case of the chashud, of the guy who's chashud. It's true that we won't say kenegdo because that would be takana according to, so it would be a takana by chashud according to not Rabbi Chia, right? According to not Rabbi Chia, it would only be Rabbanan or Rav Nachman that would make him make an oath in this chashud case, and then we could say kenegdo. We can't say kenegdo because that's takana l'takana, but we could say sheyishalem. Because but we don't. The Gemara never suggests that. That's what he meant by saying only by chashud. In other words, only by chashud do we say takana, but we don't say, sorry, only by, right, whatever. Only in this case did we not say it. So,
or I think specifically he's saying only in the case of chashud do we not apply
exactly.
But it's not clear why we wouldn't apply it to other cases of rabbinic.
Right. No, but it's not clear why we didn't apply it here. It's not clear why in chashud itself we didn't apply it. It's not because of takana. What is the?
I think he's Dafka may be arguing that with, well, I think he's partially asking about the chashud, but he's also his like larger question is also why do all the poskim say that this applies across the board when we only see
yes. But let's focus on our case because that'll be easier for us since we know that case. But yes, agreed. In general, we don't say kenegdo on a shavua derabanan, and it can't be because of takana because we just said it's deraita. Although I have my own answer why a different answer, but maybe I'll get to that later. But let's stick with this. V'lechen nira din mitoch. So therefore, it seems that din mitoch kevan she'eno mitakana el medina, since it's not a rabbinic law but it's a Torah law. Ra'ui lomar gam b'shvua d'Rabbanan. It should logically be said in rabbinic laws. And why didn't we say it by this case of Rav Nachman? Rav Nachman said make an oath here, and he can't make the oath because it's chashud. So say mitoch. El mishum de din mitoch b'shnei panim. There are two ways that you could have din mitoch, or in our Gemara there's two kinds. B'shnei panim. Oh, chashud, or it's a chashud. Like for example, he's kofar bakol, and he would have a shavu, like our case. He's kofar bakol, but he's chashud, and we would want to give him here mitoch because he can't because he's chashud, right? But it's even though he's kofar bakol and he has only rabbinic shavua, he's now chashud. So give him a shavua kenegdo. That would be one possibility. Oh, shitoen eni yodeya v'kiyotze. Or it's a possibility that he doesn't know, like the case of Chamishin lo yadana, or the case, and he says v'kiyotze de'enu yachol l'shava, or similar cases that he can't swear, like for example the Nascha de Rabbi Abba. In other words, he's saying there's two possible there's three cases that we've seen. There's the ro'eh, and then there's the other two. That's basically what he's saying. There's the ro'eh, which is chashud, and then there's the other two where he can't swear. Because he, like Tosas pointed out, because he can't swear because he doesn't know, or he's the shavua that he agrees with the aid. He doesn't want to contradict the aid. He agrees that he took it. And now he's going to go for each of them. Umichashud kfar amru b'shas dahave tekanta l'tekanta. By the chashud, it would normally be a case of tekanta l'tekanta in the case of kenegdo. Kamosha katav o mishum dechashud. Lo mipol, lo mifsal minatora, because it could be that really because it's a takana because really he's only puzzled because of rabbinic law, and really minadoraita he's chayev. O mishum de rotze l'shava, or because he wants to swear, and I think these are the, well, I'm not sure exactly what it means. O mishum derotzeh l'shava. Ve'im to'en enu yodea b'shavua hesed.
I have an idea. I think part of his point with the tekana for the idea of the chashud being itself a tekana is explaining again why, even if we don't have the logic of that second answer, the Tosfot, why would we say we don't say mitoch chashud? It's that actually even applying a rabbinic oath, like in a case where you're applying a rabbinic oath, and then the very fact that the person can't take the oath, the Eno Yocholi Shava itself is in fact only a takana, because the Oraita they could take it, then it would be a takana to say there's a rabbinic oath, but rabbinically you're not allowed to take it, and therefore we're going to apply this.
Good, very nice. Okay. The im to'en eno yodea b'shavuot hesed. If he says eno yodea, right, that's exactly the case that we would want to give him a shavua connect, a shavua bitoch, because he says, I don't know, and it's a shavua that's a rabbinic shavua. But who cares? That's a rabbinic shavua. Apply the law of mitoch. And he says eno yodea, right? And that's the case of eno yodea, not chashud. Ve'im to'en eno yodea b'shavuot hesed. Nearer de lo shayich beklal din mitoch. We wouldn't say mitoch. Why? The bishlam agabe shavuot. That's exactly the question, right? The bishlam agabe shavuot a Torah, shavuat a Torah, leka shavua eno yodea, because it makes sense that by the Torah, there's no such thing as a shavua eno yodea. It doesn't exist such an animal. There's only a shavua. There's three shavuas, right? Shavuot shomrim, shavuos eid echad, and shavuot modev miktzat. And all of those are cases where you're vadai. There's no such thing as a shavua derabanan of eno yodea. So debishla magabe shavua dehora deleka shavua eno yodea rak shavua bari. There's just a shavua I'm clear about. I know what I'm saying. I know what I deny it or I affirm it. Ulahachi l'Rav Shmuel lo savri b'toch, and that's why the Rav and Shmuel don't hold of the din of b'toch. Islahu b'chamshin yadana b'chamshin lo yadana the niftar. In other words, and therefore, if you don't hold mitoch like Rav and Shmuel who don't hold mitoch, what's the din going to be in a case of hamshin yadana, hamshin lo yadana, I don't know, then you're going to be patur because there's no possibility of mitoch and there's no oath, because only an oath is only where you know, and where you don't know there's no oath. So therefore you'll be patur according to Rav and Shmuel, right? Because they don't hold mitoch. V'chamishin yadana, I'm going back a little bit. So again, ulahachi the Rav Shmuel, going back there. For the haki Rav Shmuel de lo savri mitoch, because they don't hold mitoch. Islahu b'chamishin yadana v'chamishin lo yadana the niftar mishavuot. They're patur then, because there's no other possibility. Niftar in mishavuot Torah kevan delecha b'doraita shavua she'enu yodea, because there's no possible oath that we could give them according to the Torah. The Kamosha Katav b'siman ayin hey sif katan yud zayin ayin sham umishum hachi leman desfirele mitoch. But the other people who not like Rav and Shmuel who do hold mitoch, so he has to sarich l'shalem in that case of lo yadana. Sarich l'shalem b'chamishin yadana or chamishin lo yadana kevan delecha shavua de'enu yodea, because there's no such thing as because it can't possibly make an oath of enu yodea. And now he's going to distinguish. Now he's going to make his distinguish between the right and the Rabbanan. Aval b'shvuat hesed, which is the Rabbanan, im to'en lo hayu dvarim me'olam bebari. If he's sure that nothing happened, nishba bebari. So let him make his oath. Bebari is rabbinic oath. Ve'im to'en ein yodea. But if he holds that he doesn't know, if he doesn't know if he's really chayav, nishba she'einu yodea. So since it's rabbinic, The rabbis do have such an apparatus called swearing when you don't know. So therefore, we have an alternative. We don't have to say mitoch. We have another possibility. We have another avenue to pursue, which is let him swear that he doesn't know. But we can't pursue that in a Torah law. So we can't pursue the avenue of mitoch, of Eino Yodea in a Torah law. We can only do mitoch. But if it's a rabbinic shavua, let him just swear, I don't know. And they'd be patur. The b'shavua the rabbanan ikanami shavua Eino Yodea, because in a rabbinic shavua, in the world of rabbinic shavuot, there is such an animal as Eino Yodea. So let's use that. V'lo shayich mitoch, and therefore we never are going to come to a case of mitoch. We'll never need to, because we'll always just say if he's, oh, you don't know. In other words, there's only two possibilities of where you're going to say mitoch. Either it's a case of Eino Yodea, or I can't swear because of something. So then if it's rabbinic, like Eino Yodea, b'chamishin chamishin, then if it's rabbinic, so let him swear that he doesn't know, and he'll be patur. But if it's d'oraita, he can't swear, so say mitoch. And if it's chashud, there's also no. If it's chashud, then also I don't know. Maybe we could let him swear. That was the question that Lexi was dealing with. But anyway, so he's just talking about Eino Yodea. So again, lo shayach mitoch she'eino yachol l'shava mishalem kevan deyachol l'shava she'eino Yodea. Okay. V'ken din nascha. Now, so he's explained that case. He's explained basically that he's not saying that it's a takana or takana. He's just saying that the din mitoch only comes about because there's no alternative to say I don't know. But once it's a rabbinic law, there's an alternative to say I don't know, so we won't use the idea of mitoch. V'ken din nascha de Rabbi Abba. He's got to explain that one now. Why do we say mitoch there? Nami lo shaycha shavua de Rabbana. It's also not possible to ever have a case like that where it would be rabbinic. In other words, the shavua of the shavua of Nascha is a Torah shavua, because we have Eid Echad, that's a Torah shavua. He can't make that shavua because he can't deny it because he admits it. He admits that he took it, so he has to pay. Now he says, let's imagine, could there be a case similar, parallel to the case of the Nascha, which is only rabbinic though? So he says like this. He says, no, there couldn't be a case like that. He says, it's impossible to have a case like that would be rabbinic. And therefore, I don't need to answer that question why we never suggest to do mitoch in a case like that would be rabbinic. He says, "V'ken bedin nascha de Rabbi Abba, nami lo shaycha shavua de Rabbanan." Why? The im ha'ed, it's not shayach. The im ha'ed me'id ba'avadim uv'shtarot v'karkaot. Because if it would be not a chefetz, like a piece of gold or a piece of silver, but it would have been land or slaves or a shtar. So that's what the witness said that he owed. Ein hashavua al yedei ha'ed. Then in such a case, we don't say shavua by an aid. A single aid does not cause me to have to make a shavua according to the Torah when we're talking about things that are not metaltalin, or things that are not objects, movable objects. Kevan de ein aid echad yachol lichayev shavua bekarkaot. And ve'eno nishba ela al ta'anat hatovei bari. And the only reason he's going to swear is because the other guy says you owe me, and he denies it. But then he's denying it, and he's not eino yachol l'shava. He is yachol l'shava. He says you owe it, and I say I don't owe it. V'ki meshiv didihu, and when he says it's mine, harei nishba al tanato dechataf didi. So then he's saying it's his, but he's answering, no, it's mine. So the answer is really, as if it would have been karka that he took. He would say it's mine. And not because of the aid, but because the other guy says it's mine. So there would be like kofar bakol, and he would be chayiv d'oraita. It wouldn't be a d'Rabbanan. So he's saying there wouldn't be a case of a d'Rabbanan in the case of Nascha. The best attempt you could do to get a d'Rabbanan would be to say it's not a chefes, it's karka. But then it would be, then the Eid Echad wouldn't be causing him, and it would be just a regular case of I claim one thing and you claim another, and then I'm buried. Ulefi zeh lo kasha lama lo ka'amar b'shas nafka mina le'inyan mitoch. And that's why it didn't say over there in the Gemara in Shavuos. In the Gemara in Shavuos, it listed all kinds of nafkaminas between Shavua de Rabbanan and Shavua de Raita, and it didn't list this one. And it says, I'll tell you why it didn't list this one. Tahalo mishkacha din mitoch b'Shavua de Rabbanan, because there would never be a case of even though Shavua, even though it's deraita, even though mitoch is deraita, lo mishkachat b'Rabbanan. We can't imagine, we can't do a mental experiment to create a case that would be Rabbanan that we would then say mitoch about it. It just doesn't happen. It's not because it's not theoretically possible in some other world, but it just doesn't happen. And as he's saying, it's not because of takana that we don't say it. It theoretically could happen, but it just doesn't happen. There is no law like that. Dahalo mishkachat din mitoch b'shavua de Rabbanan. De b'shema yachol l'shava, de b'shema, because if it's a case of shema, yachol l'shava b'shema. If it's rabbinic, let him swear that shema, maybe. If he's saying shema, I don't know. So let him swear shema. And if it's naska de Rabbi Abba, lo mishkachet b'shvua de Rabbanan. There is no way of having a shvua de Rabbanan in the case of a similar case to Rav Nachman, to Rav Abba. To the Naskah of Rav Abba, B'duk. So basically, if I summarize what he's saying is, first of all, he's teaching us an interesting din, which is that we might have thought that mitoch is the Rabbanan, and he's telling it's Doraita. And then he's saying the reason why it's not applied on rabbinic laws is not because it's a takana, but because there could never be because we only apply mitoch when he's saying I don't know, for example. And in those cases, they would have another alternative. They would say, if it would be a rabbinic law, they would say let him swear. Now, there's no hecha timsa. There's no circumstance that could ever occur that would be a rabbinic law that we would not be bari, that it would not, either, if we're rabbinic shavua, he would either be bari, in which case let him swear. Why wouldn't he swear? He can't say mitoch that he can't. Or it would be that he's not bari, in which case he's not clear, he doesn't know, but then let him swear also that, because it's rabbinic law, he could swear. Rabbinic ones, he could swear that he doesn't know. So it's basically just saying that the law doesn't get started. Even though it's a deraita law, it's impossible to have a circumstance in a Rabbanan that you'd have this law. Oh, sorry, I just got a cramp in my leg there. All right, any comments or thoughts? That's the basic
Very
idea.
elegant.
Yeah, okay, good. I mean, there's another possible answer that I thought of, but maybe the fact that he didn't say it and nobody else says it means it's not a good possibility. But the possibility, I mean, there is a reason why it's wrong, but I'll tell you anyway. And that is, just say like this: even though mitoch is d'oraita, right? Mitoch is d'oraita, fine. But when is it d'oraita? It's d'oraita on a d'oraita shavua. The Torah says make a shavua, and then if you can't, the Torah says so pay. So the Torah is talking about its own shavuot. And those shavuot make mitoch. When the Torah said mitoch, it was referring to Torah shavuot. That's all it could be referring to. If the Torah was given to Moshe Rabbeinu at Har Sinai, much before the rabbis made much before Rav Nachman made his shavuot. So on a Rav Nachman shavua, there is no din of mitoch, because the din of mitoch is the right to law on the right to shavuos. But under Rabbanan shavuos, there's no mitoch. There is just no such thing. In other words, unless the rabbis made a takana called mitoch under Rabbanan, so we don't have such a thing.
Right. It seems like what you're saying is that it's not even that it's a din on Doraita Shavuos, but that it's like, if anything, it's better described as like a characteristic of Doraita Shavuos, right?
Exactly.
And rather than seeing it as a separate principle, it is in fact like a characteristic built into the nature of a Doraita Shavua. Which is separate than like an outside principle that can then be imposed upon any kind of shua.
Right.
The problem is then that would be a difference between a Doraita Shvua and a Durabana Shvua. You said one has this quality and the other one doesn't have that quality.
Right. And that's exactly the problem. And therefore, and what? And so what? So say that.
Right. So, it's just, I mean, that's why his answer works in a way that it is not a quality inherent to a Doraita Shvua. It is a quality that could theoretically obtain for a Durabanan Shvua, but never does.
Right. But why does the Ktzos not like my idea?
Because your idea is not listed as one of the differences between Shvua Durabanan and Shvua Doraita.
Oh.
Meaning, if it's a quality,
okay, good. That's a technical answer. That's a technical answer. That's a very good technical answer. Good. Or you could. I was thinking of something slightly different, but just say ke'en deraita tiknu. In other words, that would be the other way of saying it. In other words, when Rav Nachman made his shavua, logically speaking, he would have applied all the laws of deraita on it, and therefore it wouldn't be a takana. It would be a natural part of his laws. And that would be, as we generally assume, that ke'en deraita. But your answer is a very good technical answer, right? It's not that. In fact, that's what he did say. So said it's not listed, but it's still my answer.
Although,
is still,
actually, even if you said
a logical and elegant answer, really, I think. But yeah,
even if you said the Rav Nachman thing, I think that actually wouldn't change the analysis, right? Because even if you said Rav Nachman like established his thing in a way that should function in the same way, right? That a Doraita one did.
yeah.
The analysis for Chashud would still be the same, right? Which is that, if we say Chashud, the Shvua he's taking, the Rav Nachman one, is itself rabbinic, and the inability to take it in the case of Chashud is also rabbinic, then it doesn't matter whether, mitoch would be built into the nature of the rabbinic Shvua, that would still be takana l'takana, right? Regardless of whether Rav Nachman had built that principle into his Shvua, it would still end up being a double takana. And his other answer would also still apply, which is that in the cases of Ani Yodea, you could simply take the oath.
I understood Rav Nachman as
yeah.
saying that ke'en Doraita as a rejection of his own approach, not as a critique of it.
No, I'm saying that like I think that
Yeah, but I think Lexi is defending my. I think Lexi is defending me.
But I'm saying that like
even if it's ke'en deraita, wait, let me just paraphrase what I think you said. Lexi is saying even if it's ke'en deraita, but still we see by the case of Kenegdo that would also. Why didn't we say by Kenegdo it's ke'en deraita tiknu? And so when Rav Nachman made his law, he also included Kenegdo as a possible sniff to it, as a possible offshoot, appendix to it, and therefore it should have been applicable. The Gemara says it's a katana to kana. So you see that even if it's the Rabbanan and even if it's ke'en deraita tiknu, we can still say it's a rabbinic on top of rabbinic. It's a double jump. So we would have to say the same thing here, and therefore we can't say that Rav Nachman it's all one takana. We have to say that Rav Nachman applied, even if he created his din, he applied mitoch to it. That would be a derabanan.
Right, because it would still be, again, the way he's explaining Chashud, the first Rabbanan, again, one of them is just the fact that the inability to take the Shvua of Chashud is itself a takana, and then the Shvua itself of Nachman is a takana, and that's kind of immaterial of whether Rav Nachman had built in the mitoch into the nature of his Shvua. But I think Aaron's reason is probably the more straightforward reason for why he didn't include it, which is that if it were true that this is like an innate characteristic of Doraita Shvuas, it seems like it would make sense to list that as a distinction between them. Although in some ways, maybe it wouldn't, because then the answer you could give to that is if it asked for nafkaminas, it still wouldn't have a nafkamina.
Right. In other words, exactly, because in other words, you're right. I think it's very good what you just said. The last thing you said, Lexi. That's a good attack on Aaron. Thank you for defending me. You're saying the Gemaras over there. You have to look at those Gemaras over there, and they're only listing nafkaminas. That in this case you do it like this, in this case you do it like this. And what it would only be a theoretical nafkamina that there is no such thing as mitoch ana derabanan, because lamaisa would never come up like the Ktzot said. I don't know. Okay, yeah. Anyway, the Ktzot obviously doesn't agree with me, but just another idea to bear in mind. Wait a second. What should we do now? Let's look. Oh.
We could do
I
the
mean, you
second
could
one.
still say
do.
you could still say that the nafkamina would come up, because it wouldn't be about what the Ktzot does is he makes it about the content, the specific content of the situation in which these vows would occur. But if we're talking about the vow occurring being derabanan or deraita, you could still frame it as a nafkamina, right? Because it could be similar versions or even equivalent versions of the same thing. The difference being that one is deraita and one's derabanan, but the vow you could be making would be the same. You could like make a rabbinic version of a deraita vow.
No, but the whole thing, it's not even about whether make a rabbinic version. I'm saying that like if the whole point is that regardless of which way we frame this, you're actually still not going to find a scenario where we apply mitoch. Wait, what did I?
Yeah, then
No, actually, wait,
the
what was
Gemara
it?
would be justified in not listing it.
Wait, but actually now I'm back to the question, why, what was his answer for why it's not listed as nafkamina? Isn't his whole point that actually, right, no, sorry, back to his answer is that it isn't nafkamina because technically it does apply to derabanans, but it just never
Materializes.
Actually, no, the Ktzot's approach to that would be counter to my own, because his answer as to why they don't say it is that even though it'll never actually come up, it's not a nafkamina because it technically applies to derabanans.
Right.
I mean,
Because it technically
that
applies. Right.
that if
Because he's proposing, right. Well, his answer, yeah. In the end, it doesn't come up. We don't know exactly why the Gemara didn't list it. Either it didn't list it because there are no nafkaminas, where it would never, no occurrences where it would happen, or because it's taka not a difference. Taka, there, either it's saying it comes out that they both fit into what the Ktzot is saying. He's saying both things. On the one hand, he's saying taka is a deraita law, and it would apply to rabbinic laws. So therefore, it shouldn't list it. On the other hand, he's also saying, but we don't. So we don't list it. But on the other hand, he's saying we don't list it for another reason because there are no nafkaminas.
But I mean, I think what the elegance of the Ktzot's approach here is he has, through a very careful reading of the story of the sources, landed on the only logical middle path between the fact that it's deraita and the fact that there's no nafkaminas, meaning.
Right, and the fact don't say takana la takana.
Right. The only logical way of coordinating between those points is to say it just doesn't exist. And he's done that through a careful reading of the actual specifics.
Good. All right, in the time that we have, I did sort of want to look at this Tosfos that we saw in Daf Gimel again. I hope I'll convey to you my new thoughts about it. Bekule boy delode. This is on Daf Gimel Amud Bet. We have to read the Gemara a little bit to understand this. And then I promise you next week we'll start from the 2 dots. Even though and there's still one Tosfos we didn't do, but that's okay. So look on Daf Gimel Amud Aleph at the bottom. You see where it says Kedir Rabbah?
Yes.
So it says Kedir Rabbah. Da Amar Rabbah mipnei ma amra Torah modeh miksat hatana yishava. Why did the Torah say that we have this din of modeh miksat needs to swear? Because chazaka ein adam meiz panav bifnei bal chov. Because in general, a person will not be bold against the debtor, person who lent him money. V'hai bekule boy de nichpere. He wants to deny it all. Vahadalo kafre, and that he didn't deny it all. Mishum de ena da meiz panav, because the person doesn't meiz panav. Vahai bekule boy lode, and he really wants to admit to it all. Vahad lo ode, and that he didn't admit. Ishtamute had kamishtamet. He's just trying to buy time, but he's really an honest fellow. Mishtamut mine. Savar ad dahavali zuze paranale. I thought I'll get some money and then I'll pay him later. Amar Rachmana, and that's why the Torah said, Rami Shavua alei. He placed a Shavua on him, ki heki delode le bekule, so that he should admit it all. Now Rashi says, V'hai bekule boy lode, that he wants to admit it. He wants to admit to it all. V'ki tema, and why did the Gemara say this? Because you might have thought, migo de chashid amamono, since he is suspected on money, chashid as shavua. He'll also be chashid al shavua. In other words, this guy, you might have thought we're not going to let him swear. He's so bad. I'm going to phrase this in a certain way to distinguish it from the Tosos. He's such a bad dude. He's a bad guy. We don't want him to swear. He'll just lie. The chashid amamono chashid shavua. We won't let him swear. He'll just lie on the oath. Velo narmi ale shavua ta. We won't put a shavua on him. Shavua ta lo chashid amamono. Wait. Velo narmi ale shavua ta. Lo chashid amamono lefi shaburitz. But really, this guy is not chashud amamono. Lefi shaburitz sono hayamodeh. He really wants to admit bekulo. Ella she'ein biyado lifroa. He doesn't have the money to pay. V'savar ada havelizuze paranale. In other words, this guy is not. We thought he was such a bad guy, and the Gemara is trying to explain he's not such a bad guy. He really wants to pay, and that's why we put an oath. That's why we're allowed to put an oath on him, because it might work. He might admit. Now Tosfos says, "Ubekule boy lode." That's the Tosfos on Gimel Amud Bet. He says he wants to admit to it all. Umasha pirish Rashi kevan dechashid amamono heiki nishba. That's his essential point. The question is, how could we possibly make him swear he's a bad fellow? He'll just lie. He'll just lie. Umishani the mishtamet velochashid. No, we answered no. He's not a bad guy. He's just trying to buy time. Valzeh tema, and on this I don't understand. Daha masik lekama. The chashid amamono lo chashid shavua. But this is not. Even if he would be chashud on money, we would still make him oath. So I don't understand Rashi. Anyway, we would make him make an oath, even if he would be chashud. Ve'ein lomar dahainu the Rabbanan, the Fishaita Shavuot, and don't tell me that we make him over on that other page in Daf Vav, we make him swear that that's the Rabbanan. And then what would be your reasoning? Lefishara'u Shahaita Shavua Chamura Aleim, that the rabbis saw that the Shavua was taken very seriously by people. But really, midoraita he is chashud, and Rashi is just talking according to the Raita law, because that's what we're trying to explain over here. We're trying to explain the Raita law. Don't say all that. Dahalakaman maiti mirav Nachman de mashmi'in oto shalosh shvuot echad mehen shalosh shalachti bo yad umashma behagozel kama dahave doraita, and we understand that even there it's a deraita law, and he's swearing that he didn't steal, and therefore he must have been chashud, and yet we're making him make an oath deraita. So it is a deraita law. V'ken benaska de Rabbi Abba mashma de I amar. This is what we read today. Umashma de I amar lo chatafti haya nishba. At ha'ed. Mashma, that if he would have said, I didn't take it at all, then he would have sworn against the aid. Shavua d'oraita. That would have been a shavua d'oraita. And how do we know it's a shvur d'oraita? And yet there he was also chashud because like the aid is telling us that he stole it and we're still letting him swear. And this is the right law. And that's what we said. And on a shavua d'Rabbanan, we would never have said mitoch. And that's, by the way, how are we going to explain that now according to the Ktzot? Not because it's takana d'Rabbanan. What does Tosos mean? Not because it's takana d'Rabbanan on a takana d'Rabbanan. It's not takana that we don't say on a shavua d'Rabbanan. But because it would never come up. The case would never occur. That's how you have to read the Tosos according to the Ktzot. So what is the Gemara saying? So now here's the point that I actually wanted to decide. This is sort of the point that I want to make here. V'yesh lomar de bekule boy lo dele. What does it mean when it says bekule boy lo dele? He wanted to admit to it all. Klomar me'achar de ein meiz. Since a person is not going to be bold and deny a loan that he was given, im kain emethu. It must be that this guy is very believable. Ve'ein chayav lo yoter, and we don't make him make an oath.
I think also
It's the opposite. Just let me just say the punchline here. It's the opposite of what Rashi was saying. Rashi was saying he's such a bad guy, we thought we wouldn't give him an oath. He's such a bad guy, we shouldn't give him an oath because he's chashud. He's and we said no, he's not really chashud. Tosa says no, he's such a good guy. If he's saying he didn't do it, then nobody is me'ez to say such a thing unless it's true. So why should we give him an oath?
Well, this is specifically their chiddush is that even in Moed b'Miktzat, they're like, yes, arguably the whole point of like with Kofer HaKol, one of the reasons we potentially say they don't take a shvua is if we hold in Adam Me'iz, then like if they're denying the whole thing, must be that it's the truth or that feels like a decent
so too by Moed b'Miktzat.
Right, they're like, yeah, if we really have this principle of in Adam Me'iz, like that people aren't so brazen as to like lie to a person who knows they're lying, they say that Gemara's initial thought is, well, even Moed b'Miktzat is still ha'azah.
Exactly.
Right? Like you loaned me $1,000 and I say you only loaned me $200. Like, but the still a pretty brazen claim to somebody who knows that I'm lying. So like if we really do hold that way, then we should say
we sort of accepted too easily. Right. We accepted too easily. Exactly, Lexi. We accepted too easily this idea that once he's Moed b'Miktzat, that's not called me'iz. It's also me'iz. What do you mean it's not called me'iz? Just because you admitted to some of it, you're not being bold? No, you're also being bold. You're denying half of it. So Tosfos is saying, yeah, that's exactly what the Gemara is saying here. We think to apply the din of Kofer B'Kol Eino Nishba also on Moed b'Miktzat. So I'm just pointing out that this is, you could read this whole Tosfos because he took so long in getting to his explanation. You could forget that he's trying to give a different explanation of the Gemara. Rashi is saying that we had a chashash that this guy was such a liar that we wouldn't make him make an oath. And he says, no, he's a good guy. And Tosfos says, no, we had a chashash that this guy was such a good guy that we wouldn't bother to make him make an oath. Because Adam lo me'iz, and a person who denies half is that's haza'ah, that's boldness. And therefore we should believe him. So back to what he says. V'yesh lomar, debekula boy lo dele. What do we mean to say? Klomar, me'achar de ein me'iz, because he wouldn't be so bold without it being the truth. Im kain emethu, it must be the truth that he's saying. She'ein chayav lo yoter, that he doesn't know anymore. And therefore we would have said, don't even in Moed b'Miktzat make him make oath. V'lama yishava. And why should he make an oath at all? Yeh ne'aman. Let him be believed. B'migo. The boy the Kofer HaKol. He could have said a Kofer HaKol. And then the Gemara answers, Umishani de ein ze haza'at. And then the Gemara says, no. Now the Gemara teaches us this principle that when you admit to half, that's not called haza'ah. Well, not when you admit to half. Anytime it could be, the truth is, anytime you are kofer in something, it could be ishmute kameshtamet. That's what he goes on to say. Ve'im tomar kofer hakol nami ishtamut. Maybe in kofer hakol, he's also trying to buy time. Why don't we say kameshtamet? ve'eno haza'ah. Maybe that's also not haza'ah, right? Maybe he's just trying to. You don't know what's going on in his mind. Maybe he's not being bold. Maybe he intends to pay also and go for a call. So why is there this distinction? Let also go for a call swear because maybe it's not haza'ah. Maybe he's thinking to himself,
we it's kind of weird they don't bring this, but we dafka do say this, right? Because of the whole idea of like kofer b'milveh kasher le'idut, right? The whole explanation of kofer b'milveh kasher le'idut, which is applied across the board, regardless of how much you've been kofer b'milveh, is because we say yishtem kamishtamet, even if they are kofer akol.
Kofer b'milvah. What are you saying about kofer b'milvah?
That the Rav Chisda statement is kofer b'milveh kasher le'idut, kofer b'pikadon pasul le'idut. Right, but
because
they'll
right,
clarify
because
that the kofer,
exactly.
Right, that even kofer akol with meal that we say could be mishtamet.
Exactly. Well, that Tosas is agreeing with that. Tosas is actually agreeing with that. He's saying actually this whole din of mishtamet applies to ever across the board. It applies to kofer bakol just as well as it applies to kofer miksat. So Taka, why do we why do we exempt him from an oath in kofer bakol? He could be mishtamet, and maybe we want to get him to admit the truth that he really does owe it, because it's not necessarily hazut panim. So we've sort of turned everything upside down here. So again, ve'im tomar kofer akol nami ishtamute kamishtamet ve'eno ha'azah kada amrina beperach shuas adayanim. I think that's actually your case, actually. No,
this is a different thing.
It's a different case. All right. Amar Rav Nachman kofer akol mashbiim oto shavua hesed. Oh, because of a different thing. We say over there that Rav Nachman says that we learned many times now that kofer akol does make an oath to Rabbanan. But why would he make an oath to Rabbanan? The guy is ein adam meiz. Why would we even bother placing an oath on him? He's obviously telling the truth because ein adam meiz in kofer akol. You must say that Rav Nachman believes that there could be also mishtamet in a case of kofer bakol. So mishtamet applies across the board. Because Rav Nachman says kofer akol mashbi'im oto shavua hesed mishum hazakad ein adam tovea, because the other side ein adam tovea el im ken yesh lo alav. It doesn't. People don't make frivolous claims. If they makes a claim, it must be there's a side to say it's true. But why don't we just say the other way? Uparek adarabba ein adam meiz panav mifnei balchov, and we said over there, but a person won't meiz. And yet Rav Nachman says to make an oath. And we say, yeah, he's mishtamet. So he's not. So even in a kofer bakol, Rav Nachman's clearly holding that there could be such a thing as mishtamet. So then he explains, v'yesh lomar de'mekom makom ha'azah yesh yoter b'kofer akol. So he says it's true. There is hazah in both cases. There is a possibility that he's not. There is a possibility that he's mishtamet, and that he's a good guy, and that we want to give him the oath. But it's true that in kofer akol there's a little bit more ha'azah, and that's why the Torah says don't give him an oath. Right? That's a very weak answer.
I think,
wait, let me just finish this. V'yesh lomar de'bekom makom ha'azah yesh yoter b'kofer akol mi'bekofer chetzi v'leik amigo. And there's no migo, because we said before it was a migo that he could have said less. Wait, let me just summarize what I want to say. So first of all, we see two things. First of all, he learns the Gemara upside down from Rashi, and he learns it that the question was, why do we give him an oath at all? Let him be totally believed, not like Rashi. And he answered that because it's still hazut panim. It's because it's mishtamet. And then he said that actually it applies across the board that a person that it could be mishtamet in all cases. So then why taka do we give him no oath? Why don't we give him an oath in kofer akol when he could be mishtamet? The Torah should be interested in the same thing that Rav Nachman is interested in. And the answer is because he's still a little bit embarrassed to say, in other words, he's more embarrassed to say kofer akol than he would be to say kofer b'chetzi. And therefore in chetzi, And therefore in chetzi, there's a migo, but there's no migo in kofer b'kol. Yeah, go ahead.
So I think Dafka, they have the opposite kashya, which is they kind of ping pong back and forth, which is, first of all, again, as you said, they explain it opposite from Rashi. So they say our initial question in this section is if really logically moed b'miktzat is also a form of ha'azah, and we say Edam is panav, then we should believe the person because like they're being if they were lying, they would be me'ez, so it must be they're telling the truth, and we shouldn't give a shvuah. Answer is since we can say they're mishtamet, it's not really such ha'azah, and therefore they might be lying. People are willing to lie if it's not something that's not so brazen. But then the problem is that if with kofer hakol, we can also think of the mishtamet logic, and therefore it's not necessarily such ha'azah, even in the case of kofer hakol, then we should actually, now we're back to the problem of we should believe the person who's moed b'miktzat, because if being kofer hakol is also actually not such a big ha'azah, because you could even be mishtamet with kofer hakol, why don't we say that the person who's moed b'miktzat, migo, they could have been kofer hakol, and it wouldn't have been such ha'azah? Why don't we just automatically believe them? And so then their answer is, well, even though it's not complete ha'azah, even though mishtamet does technically apply to kofer hakol, it's a more brazen choice.
Exactly. It's a more brazen choice, and therefore we
it's
don't
not
have
a
amigo. And therefore we don't have amigo. Very good. Very, very well said. Okay, Yishikoyach, everybody. We should be proud of ourselves. We did a complicated Ktzot. Like I wrote you, it was his yard site 2 days ago. Kind of a coincidence that nothing is a coincidence. We're always living in the times. The Lubavitcher Rebbe says you have to live in the times. The Lubavitcher Rebbe had a principle that every Parshat Shavua can be related. It is related to what is going on that week in that calendar year. So too, the Ktzos is related to what's going on right now this week. At least in the fact that it's his yard site, and perhaps in more areas. Okay. Shkoyach, next week, I promise you, we will go forward in a very interesting next piece of Gemara, which is actually, I think, much simpler.
Good one, Matthew. Thanks for talking.
Okay, Shkoyach.